Hey guys, well, today is a huge day. There's no other way to put it, but it is absolutely enormous. Today is the very first day I'm going to be connecting my T-Rex range extending camper in my 2022 Ford Lightning. Let's cross our fingers that my house doesn't burn down and I did everything right and I don't have any issues. Here we go. So if you are joining us and you have absolutely no idea what my T-Rex camper is, what a range extending camper or trailer is, first of all, welcome to my channel. I definitely appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, but I have had literally hundreds of videos about the T-Rex camper connected to a multitude of different vehicles. There's been the Toyota RAV4 EV, my Toyota RAV4 Prime, Tesla Model S, my Tesla Model X, and now we're going to try it with my Ford Lightning. It's successfully worked with all of them to extend the range while towing. Now this is my third version of the range extending trailer idea. This one is a camper. It's a foamy camper made out of foam and then wrapped in fiberglass. I have a ton of videos about that build as well. So if you're curious about any of that, all of that, feel free to check out my playlist. I've documented pretty much everything. The one thing I always leave out is how I actually make the connection to each vehicle. I think I've shared quite a bit of this whole process, but that's just a little proprietary. I don't know if this will ever become a business or anything, but I haven't shared that how I connect it in each vehicle. But with all of that out of the way, today we are going to be doing the first ever test connecting the T-Rex camper to the Ford Lightning. So right now they are connected, and I have the truck face this way because I'm waiting on some more high voltage wiring to arrive. It's taken, unfortunately, quite a while to get here, but I have to run wiring from the front all the way to the back where the trailer hitch obviously is, and this is where the connection ultimately will be. I use Anderson connectors. I've even had videos about those, so feel free to check those out as well. But yeah, so once that cable arrives, I'll actually be able to do a road test with it. But for now, we're going to be doing probably the more important test to make sure the truck doesn't freak out, the camper doesn't freak out, and nothing catches on fire. So get some popcorn. I don't know what's going to happen, but hopefully it's all good. Okay, here goes nothing. Well, maybe everything, because if a house burns down, that would suck. But so I have my custom box there installed. It's connected. Both batteries are activated. This is my T-Rex camper. That means the whole unit is turned on. This is the contactor for the onboard battery pack inside this camper. This is my DC to DC converter. So that's recharging the 12-volt battery that's in the back here. So I have a 12-volt battery under there to power lights and stuff. And right now, 14.42 volts. And okay, so that's all connected. So now we can go inside my truck, look at the numbers, and flip the switch and see how everything goes. So this is my display that I mentioned in a previous video. So right now, 360.3 volts is the battery pack inside my Ford Lightning here, and the T-Rex camper is at 352.9 volts. So that should be close enough that there's going to be no issues. And then here is the display that I use for an OBD2 dongle that I have inside the camper, and I've covered all the stuff in previous videos if you're curious. Right now, yeah, it says 352.69. Yep, pretty close to the same, and these are numbers coming from Tesla. So this is actually reading the Tesla CAN data. Some of the math is a little wrong in the code. So when it's 1,000, it's actually 0 amps. So right now I have half an amp coming out of the battery pack in the T-Rex camper because I have lights on and just some stuff, and contactors are on, stuff like that. If I scroll down, you can see temperatures and the cell voltage. So both this and this display should show current when I flip this switch. And right now I just have a makeshift switch right here, just an extra switch I had around. I do have a really awesome switch coming in That's probably going to go right here, a whole Bluetooth switch panel, and I'll make a video about that when it comes in. All right, I'm going to hit the switch right here. I'll leave the camera on this to see what happens. So you can see 60 amps immediately started going from the truck into the camper. No warning messages. So the truck is happy. And then these battery packs will eventually balance so they are both the same exact voltage. So you can see they're the same voltage now. And so 49 amps. And that number is going to consistently drop until it is 0 amps. So that initial surge can be scary. In this case, I already forgot, was a 50 or 60 amps at about 360 volts DC. So we're not talking about little baby voltages here. This is serious stuff that you have to really be careful if anybody tried copying this or tried to do this. Oh, and I was just looking at this and like, why hasn't this number changed? And I forgot that it doesn't auto refresh. I have to constantly hit refresh on there. So yeah, looks like it is working. That's a great first test. I'm not actually timing it or anything, but right now it is 2:45. We can just see how long it takes for these two packs to balance, and I can report back on that. So while the energy is transferring between the two battery packs, I thought I'd come in here and do some maintenance. It's a little tight right here. I wish I had a little more space, but I noticed I needed to top off my battery coolant. So right there is the Tesla battery fluid. I actually have a little bit extra right here. That's that right there. It's just Tesla battery coolant. So I have that and just poured some in. I wish I had a light right here, but so I'm just gonna put a fuse in, and that powers my two pumps. There we go. So there's one pump right there. I know this is messy. I haven't been in here in a long time, and I need to finish it up. And then that is the secondary pump right there. So right now, the fluid is circulating through the entire battery pack and this onboard charger that I have right here. And if you haven't seen my other videos, well, first of all, welcome to the channel. But if you haven't seen those, this right here is a Tesla three-way valve. So depending on if the battery pack needs to be heated or cooled, that valve will switch between the radiator that's out front that I can show you, or this battery heater right here. And this is an electric battery heater that uses the high voltage battery power to get hot and warm the battery pack, which I don't think will be quite as needed down here in Tennessee. In New York, man, it was always a struggle. I always had to keep that thing on because it was always cold, but I'll probably use in the cooling loop more down here in Tennessee. All right, looks like that's still working after a year and a half. I can go up to the front and I'll show you the radiator in case you haven't seen it before. All right, coming around front here, this is my radiator. This is actually just from a Ford Escort. And this radiator is just gonna do what radiators do and cool down the fluid. When I was searching for a radiator, I just needed something simple and cheap. I know it's not pretty. In the future, I could do something different, but it works. So that's it from the very basic maintenance. Let's check my voltages in here and see how things are going. Here is the voltage. So right now it is 301, so what, it's been like 15 minutes or so, and I'm down to about 12 amps. So you can see again, this is a positive number. It's positive 11.7. This is negative 11.45, something like that. So again, that means battery power is coming out of the truck and going into the camper, because the camper had a slightly lower state of charge, aka voltage. So once these are both fully balanced, I'm gonna go drive around a little bit. I'm going to use some power out of the truck here so that the state of charge on the truck is lower than the camper. And then I'm gonna reconnect them and just make sure the truck has no problem with power coming from the camper back into the truck. Hopefully that makes sense to all you guys out there. Well, I just noticed I developed a little bit of a coolant leak right there. It's dripping down from, I don't know if you can see it, but that piece right there. There's a hose clamp there, and I just tightened it, but it doesn't look like it's stopping. So I might have to revamp the heating and cooling system at some point, or maybe I'll just repair it. I'm not sure. I honestly forget which year I built this thing. I think like 2018 or something, but it's been working fine, but it's been sitting for the last year and a half. So I'll have to work on that. But let's check out our voltages and see how we're doing. We're down to 2 amps transferring right now. So yeah, looks like they're balancing, and here shortly, I'm gonna go off for a bit of a drive and use some power out of the Ford Lightning and create an imbalance in state of charge from this compared to the T-Rex camper, and then I'll reconnect them and make sure that the truck has no problem with power flowing into it when it's stationary and not through the charge port. So we'll make sure that's okay, and then the final test, I think, would be to charge it while they are connected in parallel. So far, knock on wood, everything is going great. Well, I'm about to head off and go waste some energy, go for a little drive. I'm down to 1.2 amps transferring again from the Ford Lightning to the camper, and I'm at 357.4 volts. So I'm gonna go do a little bit of driving and waste, I don't know, maybe up to 10 volts, something like that. Well, I just got back from picking up my kids from daycare. This is Adeline's first appearance, I think, on my YouTube channel. Caleb's inside. So I burned off some electricity and I just connected them to each other. This time it's gonna be flowing from the camper into the truck. It's a big test because you wanna make sure that the truck has no problem with stationary power. That was something I was always worried about with the Teslas, but it wasn't a problem. So let's test it in here. Okay, here we are inside the vehicle. Say hi. And there are my voltages. So the truck is at 352.8 and the camper is at 357.1. And I'm going to press this same button right here and we will see what the truck thinks. Get rid of those messages. All right, 31 amps, 30, 29. Man, it's dropping pretty quick. No error messages on the display, so that is excellent. Okay, so now they are balancing once again. What? What? Oh, you want to play with the camera? Yeah, okay. All right, so looks like these are okay. I'm gonna let these balance for a while and then I'll try charging the vehicle. Well, so far this has all been a successful test. Knock on wood, everything has worked so far. Right now it's balancing slightly. It's transferring 2.6 amps from the camper into the truck. So that is almost done balancing. That looks good. Normally I like to test with a 110 charger first, but I have it way over there. So I am going to go all out and we are going to use my 80 amp Ford charger. I've got the plug right here. Caleb's here. He's my witness.
Yeah, popsicle.
Yeah, he's got a popsicle. And it's a little dirty, but we're gonna slide this in. All right, well, I just plugged it in. Voltages are the same, so I'm just gonna hit the button. No error codes. So right now it is charging. Both of these are connected in parallel. You can see some amperage slightly different. Yes, it's working. So it's set up for 80 amps and it'll slowly ramp up. I've got it right over here. The cover is inside because I have it autographed and it's up on my wall. But I'm gonna watch that and Caleb's gonna keep eating his popsicle and our Cody cat is gonna supervise. And so far, knock on wood, we're doing okay. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes. It's still charging. Looks like it's going okay. Right now it has 11 amps going into each one. So I just did some quick math with my Ohm's Law calculator. So that is 3,900 watts roughly going into each battery pack. So call it 4,000. So 8,000 watts, 8 kilowatts is coming from the charger into this plug right here. And then from that plug, half is going into here, half is going into there. I thought it would be higher. I'm kind of surprised it's only 11 amps. I'm kind of surprised it's only 4 kilowatts, but it must be because of the state of charge. I don't know. It's 50% state of charge right now. I don't know. Curious. I'll see how it goes. Just checking in with you guys again. The power is slowly ticking up. It's been taking a little while. I'm kind of surprised, but whatever. I don't know everything about the charging curve that Ford decided to use with this vehicle, but we've gotten up to 53% state of charge. When we started, I think it was right around 49%, something like that. But now we are up to 13.5 amps at 360 volts. And using the Ohm's Law calculator, that is 4,860 watts. So just shy of 5,000 watts, which means the charger is delivering 10,000 watts, almost right around 10,000 watts to the truck at the plug. Again, at the plug. Half is going here, half is going to the camper. And I got the camper all set up. I had to actually get a new battery for it, 12-volt battery, because it just died. It was an older battery. And my kid and my wife are in here watching Blaze. I have an Apple TV connected in here. The whole thing is fully wired to be quite modern. All of the switches are dimmer switches just because we wanted it to be a little bit nicer. But yeah, he's in there watching Blaze right now with mommy. Well, here's my final update for today. It's 10 p.m. Getting ready to go to bed. I don't know how much sleep I'll get because when I'm first testing the charging, I don't usually get much sleep. I get kind of worried that something is gonna happen while I'm sleeping. It's still charging great. There's no error codes. Things are going smooth. We can go out there and I can show you the amperage. It's weird, it ticked up and then it seemed to it's plateaued now. We're up to 379 volts on each battery pack, and it's 12.8 amps. So I think I saw a peak of 15 or 16 amps going into each battery. Again, that's each battery, so it's not total. So around 30 amps going in through the plug, which still just seems low. I'm surprised. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm very happy that it's all working so far. Right now it is set to charge to 100%, which I really hate. So I'm probably gonna have to come out here at some point tonight, overnight, to stop and shut everything down because I don't want to charge it to 100% right now. But yeah, at some point I'll come out here and then I'll start it up again in the morning and I'll update you guys then. Well, it's the next day, obviously. I came out here about 1 a.m. because at that point I wanted some sleep. I didn't want to worry about anything going wrong here, so I came out here and shut everything down. And then this morning I came back and just reconnected everything to continue charging, and charging just completed. I charged it to 97%, so they are both still connected. They're at 390.8 volts. No amps are transferring to or from, so that's great. There are no error codes on the dash. So, man, thank goodness everything is working well. I did let the car stop the charging on its own because I wanted to see if that would cause any errors. With my RAV4 EV, occasionally the car didn't like seeing that there was still voltage at a contactor, and something inside the car just didn't like seeing voltage there when they were connected in parallel and the charging had stopped. So in this case, thank God nothing happened and no error codes. So I would call this obviously a successful first test. Now I just gotta wait for those EV wires to come in, and then the next test will be a road test. But thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, share, subscribe. See you guys.